And welcome to tonight's edition of the AIP webinar. This is a special webinar for us. Oh, by the way, Danielle and I are going to go someplace tomorrow. Yeah. We're going up to Philadelphia. We'll be speaking to the Pennsylvania Association of Periodontists, and we hear there's going to be a good crowd there. And if you happen to be in the Northeast and you want to come over to Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, we'd love to see you. It'll be Friday morning. We'll start about 8 o'clock. If you want some information, just contact me, and I'll tell you who to contact so that you can get over there. I'm sure there'll always be room for one more. We have a special seminar tonight, and this seminar, as you can see right up on your screen, is on ACE Chat. Now, ACE Chat is an organization that's run by Beth Bogan. Beth will be our guest on in just a second. And ACE Chat is an organization that I started with 5 years ago. Why would you start with a chat service to begin with? I'm sure Beth is going to talk about that. But the reason you would start with an ACE Chat with ACE Chat in particular, or any chat service, is because you want the ability for your patient who goes onto your website to start to interact. Sometimes they're not ready to answer to call. They're not ready to look at the phone number and call your office. But chat, it's a little bit easier. You type something in, you get a nice response back. All right, that's a way to start interacting. And there are lots of chat services around. But I started with Beth because Beth was recommended to me by a dentist friend of mine and said that ACE Chat was the place to go. And ACE Chat is the place to go. Beth does a fabulous job at interacting with our patients. We'll talk about our statistics a little bit later on tonight. But it can make a real big difference in your practice. So with that, I introduce to you the co-owner of ACE Chat, Beth Bogan. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Dr. Sheldon. I just wanted to say welcome to everybody, and thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And just a little bit of background, Dr. Sheldon kind of already mentioned it, but my sister Joanne and I have been offering live chat to our clients since 2011. And although we do work with a variety of industries, we found a special niche with the dental community, cosmetic dentists, orthodontists, and periodontists as well. I have just been invited by Dr. Sheldon to share some of the benefits of chat, and I'll kind of share the nuts and bolts and then take any questions that you have at the end. So what exactly is live chat? And I'm sure likely some, if not all of you, have participated in it. But live chat is an internet service that's just going to allow your site visitors to communicate via the computer, all typing in real time through your existing website. So it's not going to be on the phone, it's just a way for them to type. When you're choosing a chat provider, you want them to act as an extension of your practice. So you want them to be able to provide immediate help as well, as opposed to waiting in a queue. Obviously, it needs to be affordable for you and professional, but really what you're looking for is somebody who's going to lend an air of personal support to your website. Ideally, you want to work with a chat service who's also reliable and develops a good relationship with your in-office team. And you want them to do everything that they can to convert a shopper into a patient. So that's going to include providing the immediate help with site navigation, helping to find your new patient forms online, if you have a new patient special, information about whatever treatment or procedure that they're asking about, and then assisting with some of those basic general questions. Also expanding your office hours virtually and sharing any promotions or specials or free dentistry from the heart days, and anything like that event-wise that you have going on, implant seminars, etc. Typically, there's going to be about 4 steps to implementing live chat, although this will vary from provider to provider. These are the 4 that we implement. First, we're going to learn the details about your practice and build a custom database. We're also going to train to be a knowledgeable extension of your in-office team. So we want to act as a part of your team on your site. It's really easy to implement. It's just a little snippet of HTML code, and that's going to allow the chat feature to be enabled on your existing site. finally, it's just ready to serve your current and potential patients. We can also help answer other questions from incoming marketers, things like that. So certainly, chat is ideally going to increase your bottom line, and it takes your website from a static experience to an interactive experience, and you're going to humanize your website as well by engaging with your patients immediately. Again, we talked about expanding your office hours virtually, and then giving that instant response to any patient inquiries that you have. You can also support your in-office team by helping to lessen the load for them, and it should be convenient and easy to use on a variety of platforms. So that would include laptops and desktops, tablets, and mobile devices as well. There are people who are going to come to your site, and they don't call, and they don't email, but they will chat. So if you're not currently using chat, you may be missing opportunities for conversations about what treatments you offer in your office, and then leads, and of course, the patient conversions as well. It's easy to use and convenient for your patients. It's going to maximize your marketing, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. It's going to give you a competitive edge over other people in your area, and also increase your sales.
Let me talk about a little bit about competitive edge, because we talk about that quite a bit when we talk about marketing, Beth, and my comment to that is this. We've got people who are going to our websites or coming to us directly. Those are coming at us directly, but even those who are referred to 3 periodontists. Okay, what's a patient going to do? Patient's going to go home and is going to check out the websites of all 3 periodontists. We know that. Well, what happens if they check out your website and there happens to be a way of interacting with the office? Is that going to elevate your website among the other 3 specialists or the other 2 specialists that may have been referred to? People are looking for multiple methods of response. Some people like phone, some people like email, some people like Facebook, some people like chat. Some people like direct contact. I mean, everybody likes to respond in their own different way. And what a chat surface does is to allow you to be a little bit different from everybody else, and allows that patient who's gone on your website to not just go to the next website. The patient has the opportunity to chat, because Beth's chat window will show up right on the screen, and people will chat, and they do. We get chats. Beth, we've got to get a chat at least every day, right? Or more than one chat every day. It seems like I'm hearing from you or your staff every single day.
I would say that that's probably pretty accurate, and I will look up and email statistics after this webinar is over, and tell you. But I think on average, yeah, probably at least once a day.
Yeah, and go ahead. Just as you know, I like to talk. So when things come up that I want to respond to.
No, I appreciate the input. Thank you.
Thanks.
And definitely we'll talk more about some of these things in a bit as well, because I do think it is important to have that additional avenue of interaction. You want to kind of meet people where they're at.
Yes.
So chat needs to be definitely personalized for your site. It should have your logo, should be totally customizable, but you also want to incorporate your in-office lingo as well. For example, I have a client in California who doesn't call his patients patients, he calls his patients clients. So we've adopted that as well. I have an orthodontist in Ohio who is extremely particular on how certain questions are answered. And they want everybody on their team saying the exact same thing every time. They're literally instructed to read off of a piece of paper when somebody asks them question A. And so we've been able to adopt that verbiage and quote it verbatim as well. So you just really want to make sure that you not only are integrating your logo and your team's names, but that it's really making the chat provider is matching your lingo as well. So this is my favorite statistic, and one that I'm always really kind of awed and impressed to share, because it's almost unbelievable to me. But site visitors who participate in a live chat are almost 8 times more likely to convert to a patient. Now, this is research that is done by the software company that we use, and they do research every year and see average conversions over time with various industries, and it has just over the years gone up and up and up and up as chat becomes more popular. But I think one thing that really makes this different is that this personalized and positive experience on your site can be the difference between just a nameless click or a new patient. And we live in this crazy, fast-paced society where they want answers, and receptive and prompt customer service is just hugely beneficial. So regardless of the provider you choose, it definitely needs to be an American company. You've got to have somebody who's not outsourcing overseas, because I think anyone who's ever participated in a live chat with various companies, big companies, you can tell when somebody's typing to you that it's just not quite the English that we typically use here, even if they say their name is Joe. It's just not quite matched up, and I think your patients will be able to tell that as well. So in addition to being here in the U.S., the chat provider that you select should be HIPAA trained and certified, because they really do need to understand why that's important for your patients. And also friendly and compassionate and eager to help. You really want them to, again, try to convert those "I'm just shopping" to actual patient leads. So what might the chat feature look like? Now, this is definitely going to vary from provider to provider, but I have taken a screenshot of Dr. Sheldon's site so that you can see how we do it. You'll notice in the left-hand side, there's that live chat icon that sits. Now, when you scroll down the page, that icon will sit there, and the page can scroll down, but the icon won't move. That's to give them access to chat no matter what page they're on and where they are on the page. And once you mouse over it, it's going to go ahead and scroll out and invite them to take a call to action and click to start the chat. I also recommend a pop-up. Now, some people talk about this. Here's why. I say yes to the pop-up, because you have so many necessary components on your website between your social media and your new patient specials and your leave your contact information here to make an appointment. This just gives them an opportunity to see that there is someone to help them should they want it. Now, if they decline it, we don't re-invite them. We don't want to bother them. We just want to let them know that we're here to help. Now, a lot of people will decline that chat, and they'll do a little bit more searching around on the website, and then they'll go, "Oh, I saw that chat button. Where was it?" And now they can go and look to see on the left-hand side and see that chat button. They'll look for it. But if without that invite, they may be likely to miss it as well. Once the chat has been engaged, you'll notice there's an opportunity for them to leave their name, their email, their phone number, and an initial question. I always recommend that these be completely optional fields. As soon as you make them mandatory, you may scare some people off, especially people who just aren't quite ready yet. This is why they're using chat, to make sure that you're a good fit for them. Or especially patients who are in need of sedation and they just are fearful. 80% of the time, we see people leave us at least a name and an email, if not a phone number as well. But making that mandatory, I don't think is a wise choice, because you don't want to scare anybody off. Once the chat window is engaged, they'll have an opportunity to ask a question. Do you offer dental implants? And right away, we're going to greet them. We're happy to welcome you as a new patient. Have you already had a chance to view our page on implants here? And they can click on that page, and it will direct them to the page on implants, but they will not lose the chat window. So we can help them navigate around the site without losing our conversation with them, and that is really important. Implementation. It's, again, likely to vary provider to provider. How we do it, we email directly with your webmaster. and they just install a snippet of HTML code. Now, it's a little bit techy, but basically this code is compatible with almost every website in which it's out there. We've had very few instances where there's been any difficulty at all. And again, this is fully customizable, so we can tailor it to your needs and your preferences and how you like it to look on your site. How do you know that someone chatted? Well, right away, in minutes, we're going to email you the chat. It's going to have highlights with some critical information and also the patient contact information. In addition, we include a complete copy of the chat transcript. Regardless of the provider, I would say that that is something that you want to have access to. You want to see what was said and how quickly it was said, that your patients weren't waiting minutes for a simple response. Another important thing is that you can see, well, maybe they started off asking if you're accepting new patients, but really they turn out to be a fearful patient who's in need of sedation and really wants an implant, or has a family of 5 and they're looking to find a new family dentist if you're in a group practice, or whatever their needs are. Really, chat just kind of enables them to let the ball start rolling. A recipe for success. So your marketing strategies, your SEO, your Google AdWords, your pay-per-click, your social media, your Facebooks, and all these other things. This is all what's driving traffic to your site. Not only that, but word-of-mouth referrals as well. All of these are what's going to generate your site traffic. So you've got to have site traffic for chat to be successful. Adding the compassionate chat, and then another really important component is follow-through from your team equals patient conversions. Now, I know that seems extremely obvious that your team calls them back. But if they're not following up with leads promptly, the best chat service in the universe is absolutely irrelevant. We had a client not that long ago that was on trial, and I called them to see how everything was going about a month into their trial, and they had not followed up with a single lead that we had sent them. We sent them 16 new patient leads the first month that they chatted with us, and not one of them they called to follow up on. So while this does seem really simple, it's really very, very critical. So survey comments and feedbacks, it's important to hear the patient's feedbacks about chat, because we want to be able to make sure that we're meeting their needs. So these are actual survey comments that we have had. And it's also important to acknowledge that just because your office is open and may be available to speak on the phone doesn't necessarily mean that your patients are. Many people chat from work. If I had $1 for every time I chatted with somebody who was in a really boring conference call, I could take my kid to Disney. A lot of sedation patients will also chat, and it's a great way to ease them into the dental care that they need. It's also important to remember that the goal of chat is not to replace your team on the phone. It's not to replace the other call to actions on your site. The goal of chat is to get that name, the need, and the number, and get them on the phone with your team where they can finesse them and convert them into a patient and further qualify them as well. So chat is just really, like Dr. Sullivan mentioned earlier, providing another avenue of communication for people who prefer to chat versus make a phone call. So what if something changes in your practice? Well, your chat provider should be able to grow with you. You want to let them know, though, if you've made any significant changes to your website or your team or your office hours, if you've got a planned closure and you're out of the office on training. Otherwise, it's business as usual and we're operating like you're open. You also want to let them know if the power goes out, or you're in an area where you get slammed by snow and the office is closed for the day. So you really want to give them an opportunity to support you in a variety of different ways, not just gathering new patient leads. It can be more than that as well. So here are some of the most frequently asked questions that I get, and I just kind of wanted to touch on some of them. And again, some of these are going to vary provider to provider, but one basic question is, will this work on my current site? Absolutely, it should. Again, that little bit of code is compatible, so it should be able to be implemented without issue. Is there a long-term contract? This is one that will vary from provider to provider as well. I would strongly encourage you not to go with anyone who's looking to lock you into a contract, because you really need to make sure that they're a great fit for you. We do not have any clients at all, I should say, who are in any kind of a contract with us. All of our clients are month to month, and we want to keep it that way because we want to make sure that we're helping our clients to grow. Can you add chat to every page of your site? Absolutely, and you should. You want it to be as accessible to your patients as possible. So everywhere they go, or regardless of where they are in navigating your site, you want to be able to make sure that they have access to some basic questions and answers. Can you put it on multiple websites? Yes, I would encourage you to speak with your SEO provider about what website is producing the best results for you. How long does it take to get started? Again, that's going to vary provider to provider. In our particular case, I need about 2 days on my end to build a custom database for you. We have a pretty extensive checklist that we ask you to fill out, and it has information not just on your office hours, but also what types of financing you offer, and what about pediatrics. So what age do you accept those patients? Do you offer sedation? What kinds? Is it IV? Is it oral? Is it nitrous? Is it Nucom? What about implants? Do you have a seminar? Do you have a free day? We ask a lot of different questions so that we can have as many answers to basic questions as possible. So I need about 2 days on my end. After that, once that code is emailed to your webmaster, I'm at their mercy. I've seen people go live in literally 10 minutes, and I've seen people take almost a month. So that depends on how quickly your webmaster can respond to you. How do you know what to say about my practice? Kind of just spoke about this. We have a pretty extensive checklist, and we go through your site and build live links to every page that you have on your site. So if you do have new patient forms, we can in an instant grab them and send them right to your chatting patients. Same with new patient specials or any other treatments that they might be inquiring about as well. I find the pop-up window annoying. Do I have to have one? This is a question I get asked all the time. The answer is no, you don't. This is totally customizable to your preferences. But do understand that if you don't select the pop-up window, your engagement will go way down. So I always recommend one invite, not a re-invite. But I think it's important to have that on there. Do you outsource overseas? Again, this is going to vary from provider to provider. We do not. That is a commitment we have made. Do you have a dedicated chat rep for my practice? Another variable. My team, we are a small family-owned and operated business. My team is trained on every single site that we chat for so that we can be interchangeable and answer questions on the fly. So, of course, the big question is always how much does it cost? So you need to ask yourself, what's the value of each new patient in your practice, and how many new patients would you have to get for this really to be a good ROI for you? Again, we don't have a long-term contract. We do have a $200 activation fee, which we are waiving for AAIP webinar attendees. And we are offering a no-risk trial for 30 days so that you have an opportunity to make sure we are a great fit for you. And our pricing is tiered based on engagement. So it's going to accommodate various levels of engagement. We are offering, for the webinar, a very reduced rate of $99 a month and unlimited chats for $249 a month. So, and that is per website. We'll be able to work with you and tell you approximately how many chats you're going to be receiving per month during that trial period. So I'm happy to speak with you more about costs if you'd like to know that as well. So is live chat going to be right for your practice? Well, are you trying to grow your new patient base? Then it's a yes. And do you think that your patients will benefit from extended office hours? Yes. If you are doing any kind of marketing to actively attract new patients, yes. And then if you also consider it a priority to use smart and current technology in your practice, yes, chat is right for you. Again, it's going to really personalize and humanize the site, and we're a great support to your in-office team. So even though you're going to be improving your marketing ROI and communication, it's really critical to remember that it's more than just the software. It's really about the people behind it. So if you're interested in knowing more about how we might be able to help you, you can call me or email me or chat with us on our website. And I'm happy to take any questions that you all might have. And I know Dr. Sheldon also wanted to speak about some of the conversions that he's had with us as well.
Yeah, I think it's important. Good presentation, Beth. And so let me go over the statistics. We found out from Jennifer that about 30% of the people who chat are people that actually schedule in our office. Now that might sound like a problem, but it really isn't. Most of the patients, many of the patients who chat, but they don't necessarily come into your office, which is great. They can be screened over the phone, or they just don't answer the phone call. So from us, so that part is good, but the next part is even better. A person who comes in from ACE Chat in our office is the most likely patient to actually show up for the appointment and to schedule treatment in our office, with an 87% conversion rate, which is number one. The average patient coming to our office through ACE Chat spent $6,500 with us. So with a low of $100 and a high of $50,000. So in the past 18 months, I'm sorry, the past 15 months, we had 18 patients who appointed with us. 16 of them came in for examinations, and 14 of them scheduled with an average, as I said, of $6,500 that they spent. So Beth, you do a great job. What can I say? This has definitely added to our practice, and certainly adds to the quality of our practice because the quality of the chat is so good.
Oh, I did have a question for you, Beth. What are the hours that you operate for our patients who go on our website?
That's a great question. We are 8 to 8 Monday through Friday in your time zone. So we have clients literally in all four corners of the country: Maine, Florida, California, and Washington State as well. So we are 8 to 8 in your time zone. We are working very hard to implement an additional Saturday hours option as well. Over the past 5 years, we've been tracking this, and we have found that most of your qualified patients are chatting during the hours that your office is open. Again, that doesn't have anything to do with your office ability to chat or to be available on the phone. It sometimes has to do with their availability to be on the phone or their preference as well. So Saturdays and Sundays, we find a high number of I'm in need of emergency dental care patients. What can I do right now? And most of our clients we'll see you the next business day. And there aren't that many. So we're considering adding Saturday hours as well, but we have found the sweet spot to be 8 to 8 Monday through Friday.
Very good. I was very, when you're going over the things that we should be informing you of, I don't think that we have done a very good job of doing that. So I have a list of stuff I have to give Jennifer so we can update you. But you do very well even without our updates, which is our staff changes, our specials, or our website changes. You do very well. I read your chats all the time, and I've asked Dr. Sheldon a few times if you had dental in your background, because some of the things that you answer are pretty impressive.
Oh, well, thank you. We really believe that, obviously we're in this to help you have the most ROI possible, but we really believe that some of these people, we make a difference to the patients. And we love to be able to talk to somebody who's not really sold and make them feel like, you know what, it's going to be okay. We're gonna help you. Dr. Sheldon's awesome. He's very kind. You're going to love the way our staff treats you. And part of the way that we know that is also by the way that you all interact with us. So we can always tell, the patients, honestly, that they're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So we like that aspect of it too.
Very good.
That's great. If there are any questions, just raise your hand. Just let me know. We'll be happy to call on you. And if not, this obviously I wouldn't have Beth on here if I didn't think she was ace. She's number one. So and the special offer the extended AIP members, that's fabulous, Beth. You really have a good chance to try out Ace Chat and see how well it works for you. So Beth, I want to thank you for preparing this nice seminar for us, and thanks for all the great work you do with us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It was really fun. I appreciate everyone's time and attention.
Thanks. And next week, we'll be back together next Wednesday night. Next Wednesday night, one of our members, Rob Kane, is going to talk about some of the strategies that he's implementing in his office that have been successful for him. Rob is one of the charter members of the AIP, and so we look forward to having him on the air, and I'm sure you're going to be able to get something out of what he says. And then next week, we begin our treatment planning sessions. We're really, really excited about that. Danielle and I have been talking about this since last week. No, 2 weeks we've been talking about it. And our intention is to go over treatment planning start to finish, right on the screen. You'll look at all of the digital references that we have. We'll use CT scans. We'll use Anatomos software, regular full mouth series of radiographs, photographs, and we'll treatment plan together. But then the unique thing is that once we treatment plan, it's going to go to Danielle, and Danielle is going to then talk to you exactly the way she would speak to a patient in order to show how she so successfully gets so many people scheduled. So it's really exciting. We're excited about it. We're actually going to practice a little bit for you because in Philadelphia we're going to do one on Friday together.
Yes.
So that's it for this edition of the AIP webinar. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
Good night.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.